This video is sponsored by me. All right, I don't have any sponsors. I've been involved in politics for 20 years. My name is Frank Kutsakuria. These are my predictions for the Florida races that you should care about in 2022. Like and subscribe, hate and comment. It's going to be a short video. I'm going to go over the major races, and let's begin. So in the state house, all 120 seats are up for grabs. Republicans will have a majority. That's not a surprise. It's a matter of whether they will get 80 or more. My prediction is that they will clear the 80 2/3 mark with 81 state house Republicans. Now in the state Senate, it's a little bit more contentious about getting the 2/3. Right now, the overall predictions are that there are 3 close state Senate races. Republicans would be guaranteed about 24. I believe they will win the 2 close races in South Florida. The one toss-up that is in Central Florida, it is hard to predict. I am going to say the Democrats win that, so to be 26-14, technically not the 2/3 to ever override a gubernatorial veto, simply on a party line vote, but many times Democrats do cross over on certain issues. So if there is a Democratic governor, we'll find out whether I predict that later on, it'll be very hard for him to traverse that scale. Now, as to the congressional delegation, there are now 28 seats from the state of Florida as we gained a seat in the 2020 census. Thanks to the actions of our governor, we are going to do much better than we should have, that we could have done with the state House and Senate seats that they were going to create for us. I'm putting us at 19-9. So there'd be an increase of, I believe that is 4 seats. So 3.5 technically, and a half seat lost by the Democrats. Than what could have easily been done. Actually, be a 1.5 seat. My bat's off today. Matt Gaetz will win up in District 1 against Rebecca Moore. The 3 South Florida Republicans will retain, and the Charlie Crist seat will flip. Well, it's not exactly anymore the Charlie Crist seat, but that seat will be Republican. Now, on to the initiatives. There are 3 initiatives on the ballot. The first one deals with homesteading, which is property taxes will not go up if you put in certain things to protect against floods. All state amendments need 60% to pass. That amendment will pass with the over 60. So will the amendment that deals with, which I believe is Amendment 3, which deals with giving additional tax breaks to first responders, which somehow, some way does not include nurses. Why? I never get this. But that'll pass too. The only amendment that could possibly not hit the 60 is the amendment to get rid of the 20-year review process, where every 20 years there's automatically a committee that proposes constitutional amendments to the state. 60 is a high bar to reach. Now, what many times happens in Florida is people just go, yes, yes, whatever, yes. They don't, the margin of thought, I always say, is a lot less, where you could compare an issue, say, with, Republican could win 50% of the state, Democrat could be 48, and an initiative that's clearly pro-Republican could get 65, and an initiative that's clearly pro-Democrat could get 65. This is an amendment that doesn't have a lot of talk, and will some people just say yes just because it's just an amendment? If there is an upset and this doesn't pass, this would be the one amendment that wouldn't pass. I do think it hits 60. Now, for the state cabinet. Well, let's put it to you this way. There's only the issue of how big the victories are for the Republicans. Recent polls have had Ron DeSantis up by 11, and that is a technical bar that political scientists love to go, the proverbial dam will break on it. If you are a Democrat and you are leaning for Charlie Crist, maybe you want Charlie Crist, but you're looking at an 11-point lead or more for your opponent, your likelihood to vote, if you are not what is called a 4 or 5-star voter, drops dramatically. Sometimes it's as much as half. That's why there's almost never an 11 when the polls say 11. It's usually closer to 20. because the side that's winning generally will show up. The side that's not will stay home. I think Ron DeSantis will win by about 13 percentage points. And more importantly, and should scare the living shit out of Democrats nationwide, and they will try to make stories about it, is Charlie Crist will lose the county of Miami-Dade. Yes, Cubans vote Republican, but Miami-Dade is no longer majority Republican, hasn't been for a while, and second-generation Cuban Americans are far less likely to have the same voting patterns as their abuelas and abuelas did, who came over to this country about 50 years ago. Ron DeSantis will win big. The rest of the cabinet, there are some people who will literally just tick off Ron DeSantis. Maybe Marco Rubio, because in some counties, Marco Rubio in the Senate race is listed first. So maybe if there's going to be a drop-off, the percentages may be slightly less for the 3 cabinet seats, but Republicans will win all of those by at least 10 points as well. Now for the Senate. Val Demings has done a bang-up job for what she's been given, which is a turd sandwich from Charlie Crist. Democrats messed up big time. They should have never put Charlie Crist on there. Everyone saw that this was a mistake. If this was a freezing cold take, well, they don't do politics, but if there was one for them, this is the most easily for unforced error that Democrats would make, would be to put a single 60-plus-year-old, how do we put this nicely, crappy chameleon to be the forebearer of your party for governor. And while there will be some Democrats who will be like, okay, we're going to lose that race, but we really got to get out there for Val, it hurts her. She, in my estimation, has been running to be the nominee against Rick Scott in 2 years. And for that Senate seat. And I think that is firmly going to be hers. And if Democrats were smart, which they do not prove to be that in the state of Florida, they would put her up there in 2 years. But I see that Marco will win by about 6 or 7 points. So if you are a Republican, you are loving the state of Florida. As for the rest of the country, I'll do a video tomorrow about those predictions. So like and subscribe. And please, if you like this video, please share it with your friends. I do have a political science degree. I've been involved in politics for over 20 years in South Florida. I do know somewhat of what I'm talking about. And I'll speak with you soon.